going to invest in Bitcoin, a short time horizon is 4 years, a mid-time horizon is 10 years. The right time horizon is forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Aaron here from the Bitcoin Bros. Have a lot to share with you guys in today's video. Going to be going over some Bitcoin news, MicroStrategy, also going over is now a good time to get into Bitcoin, into MicroStrategy. I'll have a chart at the end. I found something, guys. Stick around to the end. I want to get your thoughts on that, and I have a clip of Saylor at the end of the video. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. And thank you guys for sticking around and watching the channel. We really appreciate every single one of you. I know like and subscribe for more content, but we really appreciate you. You know, we've already had a lot of people leave since MicroStrategy's come down, Bitcoin's come down a bit. And people may have bought the top and, you know, they're already bored of Bitcoin and MicroStrategy and think that it's all a Ponzi scheme. So a lot of people have already left. We'll be looking at some charts, and I'll show you that in today's video as well, so stay tuned. But anyways, thank you guys for sticking around. We think MicroStrategy is going to do good over the next 5 years, have a long-term focus on that. But yeah, really appreciate every single one of you guys. But let's go ahead and jump into it here today. Metaplanet is a Bitcoin standard company with at least 1,000 BTC. So we had Bitwise. They are filing for an ETF, a Bitcoin Standard Corporations ETF with the SEC, and this is for companies who have at least 1,000 Bitcoin in their corporate treasury. This is really interesting to me for a couple of reasons. It's going to be interesting to see if this ETF actually gets a lot of flows. But then we know here, this is the list of current companies that hold Bitcoin. You can see if you cut it off here, all these companies hold at least 1,000 BTC. But it's really interesting to me if this ETF does well from Bitwise and it gets a lot of flows, more companies are going to want to hold at least 1,000 BTC to be included in the new ETF if it does well. So that's something to look for, but we can see the companies that are going to be included here. MicroStrategy is obviously in there, Coinbase, Block, Tesla as well, Metaplanet, and also Saylor Scientific. So those are some companies that we talk about, but I think this ETF will perform very well over the next decade. And Eric Balachunas weighing in on if he thinks this ETF will do well. He says this is the one people have been asking for, mostly crypto Twitter people though. We'll see if it translates into real world flows. So we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully it does well. We'll keep you guys up to date as it comes out. We'll see how the flows are and see if people are actually interested in an ETF like this. And then to get a little bit into MicroStrategy price action, we are down 5% at around 341 today. Bitcoin currently is at 95,861. It's kind of even since the close there. So with the recent performance of MicroStrategy over the past month, nobody wants to zoom out and look over the past year. They're just kind of disappointed in the short-term losses. And if you are somebody who has been shaken out by this last move from MicroStrategy where it's gone down a little bit, I don't think MicroStrategy is really the stock for you. This is a long-term hodl. Definitely have at least a 2, 3, 4 year approach to this. You definitely should be looking towards the long term when investing in MicroStrategy. I know a lot of people have been doing call options, getting really lucky, making a lot of money in a short period of time, but this is a long-term play. We do believe this will be a $1 trillion company eventually. That's not financial advice. That's just where we see it going for the long term. So, and then also if you guys need a brokerage to trade MicroStrategy, check out MooMoo, affiliate link in the comment section and the description below. You can potentially get up to 15 stocks valued up to $2,000 each on each one of those stocks. So make sure to check that out if you guys haven't already. And then the Bitcoin ETFs just surpassed gold ETFs in assets under management. That is a huge feat because they did it in 12 months. 1/20th of the time it took gold to achieve the same assets under management. And you can see right here, the gold ETFs have 128 billion, while the Bitcoin ETFs now have 129 billion. And also take into account here, when the Bitcoin ETFs initially came out, we had a lot of selling from the Grayscale ETF. They sold off a lot of BTC, but a lot of that may have been picked up in the other ETFs, but it's just an amazing feat to see how much interest there has been in Bitcoin over the past year. And we do know that gold is the biggest asset in the world here at $17 trillion, almost 18 trillion. Bitcoin's just 1.89 trillion. So if Bitcoin had the market cap of gold, that would put Bitcoin at $900,000. So that's where we think we're headed long term. not financial advice. And then another company, KULR Technology, launches their Bitcoin treasury with a purchase of 217 Bitcoin for $21 million. Another company following the MicroStrategy playbook. So KULR, checking them out. They have a $1 billion market cap. You can see on the day they're up 40%. Over the past month, they're up 523%. Past 6 months, 1,100%. And year to date, 2,500%. So this company has been performing very, very well. And I don't know much about this company, but comparing them to Saylor Scientific, Saylor has a $713 million market cap. And we know Saylor has over 2,000 BTC, while KULR only has 217. So I haven't done my due diligence on this company. This just came out December 26th when they bought this Bitcoin. If you want us to look more into KULR, put that in the comment section below and we will, but it may be a little overvalued and where it is right now. I mean, it's up 2,500% in the past year. And like I said, the market cap is $1 billion and they only have 217 Bitcoin compared to Saylor's 2,000. Obviously, the Bitcoin is not the only thing that values their company, so there could be more going on there with KULR. But we can dive deeper into that if you guys want us to. And then to look at the top traded companies for Thursday, December 26th, we have MicroStrategy still in the top 10, coming in at around $4.5 billion of volume. Still very impressive for MicroStrategy there. A lot of money flowing into and out of MicroStrategy there. And I think in the short term, we may see MicroStrategy drop out of the top 10 periodically, but I think it's going to come back and be in the top 3 again, especially when Bitcoin starts to move back up. So that's just what I'm thinking in the short term. And then if we check out some of the catalysts that we have coming for MicroStrategy next year, we have the Q4 earnings that's going to be on February 9th. We have the MSTR quarterly rebalance on March 3rd. We have Russell Index Rank Day on April 30th. MicroStrategy World, that's going to be on May 5th. And then the Q1 earnings, this is a big day here because that's when we will see that FASB accounting standard hit MicroStrategy's earning call, and that's going to be on May 6th. So some pretty big dates that you need to watch out for over the next 6 months. And I want to share some charts with you guys that I just thought were really interesting here. And this is what I was talking about earlier in today's video is we can see crypto, the search term on Google, is down to 26. A lot of interest is leaving the crypto space as Bitcoin has fallen, as a lot of the cryptocurrencies have fallen. People lose interest, but it's the exact opposite. You should want to buy into all of the fear. When there's fear in the market, when there's sell-offs, you should be wanting to buy the dips because then you'll gain a reward when prices are going up and then everybody wants to buy in. And also, if you look at Bitcoin here, it's at a 37, and you can see it's also falling here. And it's really interesting. I mean, 37 was lower than some points we saw back in March of 2024, and Bitcoin's sitting at $96,000. So Bitcoin's way above any of these points, any point back in 2021, but people aren't talking about it as much because the price has gone down. Human psychology is really funny. People just kind of lose interest when things aren't exciting, when crypto isn't doing well, when Bitcoin isn't doing well. People just leave the space and they kind of just forget about it until Bitcoin hits all-time highs again and then it's back in the news and people are talking about it again. So don't lose interest. Keep watching videos, keep watching our videos, keep learning, keep investing, dollar cost averaging, because when these prices are going down, you should be happy because you're getting more Bitcoin per the dollar that you're spending. And then I found something in the charts to address this here. This was actually the GMI Total Liquidity Index that Raw Powell shares. We share this on our Patreon. Check out our Patreon if you want to. That'll be in the comment section below as well. But you can see that the GMI Total Liquidity Index has been kind of showing where Bitcoin is going to go almost to a T here. So if you can see, it basically predicted we're going to be at around 110,000 at the end of the year, but then going into 2025, we could potentially be selling off all the way down to $70,000, which is really interesting because that's what Bitcoin could be doing right now. It's sold off from 110. And if it does go down here, guys, this is going to be a great buy the dip opportunity. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you, if you look at the chart here, and I'm comparing 2016 to what we're seeing now. And the reason why is because Trump won the presidency in 2016. And yes, he wasn't a Bitcoin and crypto guy back then, but a lot of the same policies that he has today, he had back then, lowering taxes and et cetera, and everything else he wanted to do. But you can see this is where Trump won back in 2016. And you can see after Trump won, Bitcoin had a nice rally up into January. January 4th, it went up 60%. And then it sold off in January, which is really interesting here. It sold off 33%. And this is something we talk about. This happens all the time in Bitcoin bull runs. So if Bitcoin sells off 30% and goes down to $70,000, like this chart is showing, that would be a great buy the dip opportunity. And it's really interesting that we saw this same thing back in early 2017. And if you talk about the 4-year cycles, this would be compared to early January of 2025. So if we have a sell-off here, you can see we could potentially get a 30% dip. But if you kind of just zoom out here, this is when Bitcoin had a massive 2017 and went all the way up to $20,000. So if you spot check that price back in January and it doesn't even look, it looks like a little blip on the radar, or it dropped 30% there, Bitcoin rallied all the way to the top. In a year, it rallied 2,600% after a 30% drop in January. So I think that is just something to really pay attention to. If Bitcoin does sell off in January, it could be a great time to buy the dip, and we could see a massive gain like this in 2025 that's similar to 2017 if we get the strategic Bitcoin reserve from Trump. Whether we get it or not, nobody knows, but that would definitely give us astronomical gains like we saw in 2017. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting in the charts. Let me know what you guys think about that. I have a clip from Saylor to play. We have new videos coming out every single day on MicroStrategy, Bitcoin. Really appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. Let's go ahead and check out this clip here.
Don't think that there'll be a drop or a significant drop that comes along? Have we moved past that because of the regulatory changes that have taken place?
I think it'll remain volatile because it's a 24/7, 365 global asset. You can panic sell it on Saturday night. You can enthusiastically buy it on Sunday morning. That's a feature. That's not a bug.
Yeah, you've lived through some of the swings, but do you think we won't see the downturns like we've seen in the past just because of the changes we've seen?
I think it's going to surge through the roof, and then it's going to surge to 180 and crash to 140, and people will be freaking out about it again. But let me make this one analogy. Volatility is like fire, and some people run away from the fire, but Henry Ford put the fire into a carriage via an engine, created an entire industry. And